Okay, boys and girls, put on your straps, get your belts, because we about to get into this ride of the hunt for the America's Deadliest Hitman. Okay, ji. So this is a video by Fern. If you don't know Fern, I don't know, bro. I'm sure it's gonna be a sick video, another sick video. So yeah, let's get into the hunt for America's Deadliest Hitman, bro. Warning.
It's 1978. Jose is 16 years old.
Jose.
He lives with his family on a ranch near Irlamar, Tulare County.
California.
It's a beautiful place, surrounded by Californian vineyards.
Okay.
One day, his sister Cecilia has a request.
She went and told me, hey bro, can you take me to Indio to meet this guy? I said, sure, sister, why not?
Okay.
And I took my sister to this little house to find her stupid friend.
Okay.
Well, I didn't feel comfortable going inside with her. Okay, months passed by and she never came home.
Huh?
First they found her.
So you dropped off your sister to someone else's home, kind of her friend, you can say, and for few months she never came back. And you are like, okay, she's just at that home, at that place. Doesn't even make sense even from starting, bro. How can you just leave your sister to someone else? So, let's just say best friend, bro. Even the best friend, how can you just stay there for months and months and months, and then you say, oh, this happened. I found her car on the side of the road. As
Months
whatever.
passed by and she never came home.
Okay.
First they found her car, and then they found her body.
Oh damn.
Jose was the last person to see Cecilia alive, but when he made a witness statement,
I didn't want to give the full explanation because I want to get them. I didn't want the cops to find them. I want to find them myself.
Oh.
We went to this
You wanna
little
get a
house.
revenge?
We broke in there.
Okay.
And if I ain't one, I shot him.
he
Oh,
then
damn.
went on to shoot two more people who were also in the house.
Wow.
A cold-blooded triple homicide at the age of 16. In the
16?
following decades, Jose will kill more than 30 people. What begins with a young
Wow.
act of revenge ends in one of the most ruthless hitmen for the Mexican drug cartels. His victims are scattered across the entire U.S., and of course, in his home county of Tulare. He has taken the lives of
Tulare.
both young and old, drug dealers and farm workers, fathers and husbands. It
Wow.
will take over 30 years and police from 3 different states to bring him down. This is the
30
story
years.
of Jose Manuel Martinez, El Mano Negra, the Black Hand, one of America's deadliest hitmen.
Shit. Well, let's hope he kills
We love
The right
innovation
people.
and deep research,
Not
but
just,
it's
you know,
expensive.
innocent people.
That's why we have sponsors on this channel. We are grateful that the truly amazing platform Brilliant is supporting.
Chapter 1, the making of a killer. Okay.
You know, before I ever met him, I talked to a lot of police officers, you know, homicide detectives, murder detectives who had dealt with him. And they all said the same thing,
What?
which is when you meet him, he is the most charming person you will ever meet.
This is Jessica Garrison, a journalist and author.
Yeah, even from while they were doing interviewing with him, you know, like in few minutes ago, he looked like a chilled guy, you know. He looked like a normal looking, you know, guy.
In 2017, she met Jose in prison for a BuzzFeed News investigation. And her
Oh,
book,
BuzzFeed.
The Devil's Harvest.
I hate rapists. Okay?
The perspective of his family was that he was the person in the family who always took care of them. If you were in the hospital, he was the person that would come visit you. If the hospital wouldn't let you in, he was the person that would find a way to like hoist children up to the window so they could wave at you. I think he was not a person who anyone who just first met him ever suspected of being a multiple murderer.
How does a
Wow.
polite, loving family man turn into a mass murderer? Martinez is born in 1962 in Fresno, California. He's a U.S. citizen, but he grows up in Mexico until the age of 11. He
Okay.
then moves with his family to a ranch near Irlamar. At the time, Tulare is the poorest county in California, His stepfather organizes laborers for the wine industry, and as a side business, deals drugs. At the age of 14,
that's not good.
Martinez is sent on his first drug courier trip by bus. Later, he uses his own car. As a bilingual, US-born teenager, Martinez can easily stay under the radar of authorities. In 1977, the police raid his family's ranch. They confiscate $2.5 million worth of heroin and various weapons.
$2.5 million.
While his stepfather was in custody, Cecilia is murdered.
Oh.
Martinez said that he was a nice man until they killed his sister. Since then, he said fuck the rippers and the child molesters. So he did in 1970.
You know that line they say, like, everybody's a killer, just don't cross the line. There's some line of Talhanju, everybody's a killer, you just gotta, like, once you cross a line, like, anybody can become a killer, bro. Anybody can shoot or kill, gun or do, but everybody have their limits. Like, once you cross them, everybody can be deadly.
79. His first victim is David Bedoya.
A
friend tells Martinez that Bedoya raped his sister. Martinez does the job for $500. His first murder for money.
Okay.
In 1982, he meets a man from a Mexican drug cartel, most likely Sinaloa. He only refers to him as Mr. X.
Mr. X was involved in the moving of large amounts of narcotics, drugs from Mexico through California and to points beyond. And Mr. X, gave Mr. Martinez numerous jobs killing people.
Oh.
Not every job for Mr. X is directly related to murder.
Okay.
Most of the time, Martinez is tasked with collecting debts from small-time drug dealers.
Oh, okay,
He receives his assignment through phone calls or brief personal meetings.
A lot of it is sold on spec. I give you the drugs, you sell the drugs, you give some of the money back to me. Right? But if you take the drugs and you don't give the money back to me, we have a problem. So I would say Martinez would go and collect that money.
Martinez does end up in jail several times.
Okay.
For example, in 1990, because of his drug courier activities. But he is never charged with his murders. That's weird, because his name does appear in several homicide cases, going back all the way to 1979.
I mean, it's fine. If you turn up in one murder case, maybe that's bad luck. 2, maybe a coincidence. 7 or 8, you gotta be like, what's happening here?
In hindsight, it's difficult to understand why no one connected the dots back then. It will take many years and several victims before someone picks up Martinez's trail.
Deception is indicated.
November 2006, Martinez flies to Florida to deal with a 20-year-old named Javier Huerta. Javier is accused of stealing 10 kilograms of cocaine worth around $170,000.
Damn, that's a lot of money and a lot of
Martinez keeps
cocaine.
a close eye on Huerta for a few days. And then he decides to strike.
I told Javier Huerta,
like a
they told me
real...
that you're a Missouri worker, and I want you to come so you can give me an estimate price for my house. They got in, I locked the door.
Bam.
When I turned out, I had my guns out. My hit the floor, and this single one I tell you. You stole 10 kilos from cocaine from me. If you don't get my money in 30 minutes, I'm gonna call my friend that is outside your house, and he's gonna shoot your family.
Martinez gets the money.
Oh, this guy is crazy, dude.
$150,000 are buried in Huerta's garden. He shoots Huerta and his colleague 4 times each. He binds their hands with zip ties and puts their bodies in Huerta's truck. He takes the car and drives it to the outskirts of a national park, smoking a cigarette on the way, perhaps to calm down.
Sheesh.
After the job, Martinez flies directly to his daughter's home in
Alabama.
His granddaughter is celebrating her birthday. He wants to use the money he just earned to make her happy.
I got her. I took her to Toys R Us. Where a kid can be a kid.
Right.
I told her, babe, because I love you with all my heart, me and you, we're gonna walk in the store, and for 1 hour, you can pick whatever you want, okay?
While Martinez is treating his granddaughter at Toys R Us, investigators in Florida discover Huerta's truck with the 2 dead bodies. They find a Mountain Dew can in the center console.
Wait. So while it was parked outside, like, while he was doing the shopping and stuff? Like, how did the police find out his truck with the dead bodies?
Granddaughter at Toys R Us. Investigators in Florida discover Huerta's truck with the 2 dead bodies.
Got it, okay.
They
So
find
while he
a
was
Mountain
in
Dew
there...
can in the center console of the vehicle, with a cigarette butt laying in a puddle of the yellow-green liquid. They send the cigarette butt to a lab to check for DNA traces, but the test is not conducted right away. The evaluation probably isn't a big priority. Huerta was a construction worker and had many co-workers in the car with him. So investigators had little hope of a hit. In fact, the results won't reach them until years later. Martinez escapes conviction.
Why took
for the murder of
years
Huerta,
to find it, man?
at least for the time being. In 2009, Martinez kills a man named Joaquin Barragan in Erlemart for $8,000.
Okay.
He used a woman as a lure. She brought drugs from Barragan, contacting Martinez when the meeting was set. 3 days later, Barragan's body is found under a blanket, his hands bound with zip ties. The police questioned many people in Erlemart about the murder. They learned that Barragan knew he was being pursued by a contract killer known as El Mano Negra, the Black Hand. A woman tells investigators that Martinez tried to hire her to lure Barragan to a remote location. Others say that El Mano Negra is in fact Martinez's nickname. The investigators don't have enough evidence against him, but they still decide to make a move. They arrest Martinez for violating probation, but when they knock on his door, he scrambles out his phone, removes the SIM card, and swallows it. Nothing else on there can incriminate him. When the police question Martinez, he claims that everyone in Erlemart is lying, and that he didn't kill Barragan. They send him to prison anyway for violating his probation terms. When Martinez gets out of prison about a half a year later, he directly marches to the Violent Crime Division of the Tulare County Sheriff's Office. He wants his white Chevy Suburban back that the police had seized from him. Martinez agrees to answer a few questions from the police in return. He hints that he is a collector for a Mexican drug cartel from Guadalajara, and he also claims to know that Barragan was murdered. Not due to debts, but because he was a rat. The investigators are suspicious. They suggest a lie detector test. These aren't technically valid ways of determining a lie, but police will still often use them for investigations.
Right. They still use them.
Agrees. He is asked several times if he knows who killed Barragan. Martinez, of course, denies that he killed him. The lie detector's response to Martinez's answers are clear. Deception is indicated. Still, the investigators' hands are tied.
So
without clear evidence of a confession, they can't pin Martinez down. In the end, the Black Hand once again slips from their grasp. The cigarette butt is still in the lab. The police in Florida have other cases to handle, and they forgot about those bodies in that trunk. It looks like Martinez can just keep going on forever. But then something happens. In Alabama.
Again Alabama, okay. Did Romero talk?
Early 2013, 35 years after the murder of Martinez's sister, 33 years after he shot David Badella for $500, Martinez is now 51 years old. He is once again visiting his daughter in Alabama. He spends a lot of time with his grandchildren, picks them up from school, dresses them up as Disney princesses, and has spa days with them. His daughter knows he's a criminal, but she thinks he's just a smuggler who helps to bring people across the border into the US. While at her home, Martinez has an idea. He learns that a friend of his daughter's partner needs help collecting a debt. He'll help him, but in reality he just wants to learn from the friend a little bit about his daughter's partner, Jaime Romero. Is he a good guy? He meets with a friend named Jose Ruiz. In the car, Martinez asks Ruiz about his daughter's partner. Ruiz says Romero is okay, but he proceeds to call his girlfriend names and a terrible mother. He doesn't realize it's Martinez's daughter. And so Martinez decides to forgive him, realizing that we're all human on this rotating rock in the void. And naturally we can all make mistakes. He patiently tells Ruiz, "Hey, I'm her father, and that's not a kind way to speak about my daughter." No. Martinez decides that Jose Ruiz must die. But not right now. People saw them together, so he returns to California for the time being. Ruiz is allowed a few more weeks on Earth. On March 4th,
Luis, that is coming.
Martinez is back. He
in
goes on a
Alabama.
little tour with Romero and Ruiz. They stop to stretch their legs in a remote national park. Martinez pulls out a gun, points it at Ruiz, and says, "The woman you insulted is my daughter, you bastard."
Oh,
and he shoots
man.
him twice in the head.
Nah, this is too
He
much
gets
now.
back in the car and tells the shocked Romero to drive and better keep this to himself. The police quickly discover the dead Ruiz and find a Walmart receipt with him. They
Okay.
review surveillance cameras and identify a companion of Ruiz. It's Romero. He's arrested and suspected of murder. Shortly afterwards, Martinez contacts the police, providing Romero with an alibi and claiming that they were together at the time of the killing. But the police do not believe him, and Romero remains in custody.
Bro, what is police doing?
1 month later, Martinez is visiting his son in Erlenmeer. Suddenly, the police start banging on the door. Martinez is convinced that they are there because of him. Romero must have talked. He flees the house, and a sheriff deputy named Crystal Darrington gives chase. In reality, Martinez had nothing to fear. The police officer doesn't know a thing about the murder in Alabama.
But he thought.
She had come to visit Martinez's son because she is investigating a series of robberies and hopes for his assistance. She apprehends Martinez and brings him to the station. A colleague whispers to Darrington that the man she brought in is El Mano Negra, supposedly a contract killer responsible for several murders.
Oh man, they found it, huh? They found him now. Finally.
They could arrest Jose Martinez and hold him for being a felon in possession of a gun. And instead, he convinced them to let him go. And he offered to get them, get bad guns off the street. We have a lot of guns everywhere. Many of them are legal and many of them are illegal. And so the police were interested in kind of getting illegal guns. And Jose Martinez assisted them with this. They thought it was because he didn't want to get locked up. That may be true, but I think it's also because he kind of wanted to keep tabs on, he knew he'd committed this murder in Alabama. He knew he had all these other murders, and he kind of wanted to keep an eye on, did they suspect him?
As Martinez collaborates with the police in California, an unsolved case in Florida is reopened.
Right.
It's from 2006. The murder is of Javier Huerta. Investigators finally received the lab report regarding the cigarette butt in the Mountain Dew they found all those years ago.
Bro, how it took so long?
The DNA belongs to a man who had previously been in prison, Jose Manuel Martinez.
Yeah, now
a detective named T.J. Watts takes on the murder case. At this point, Martinez is still not their primary suspect.
Oh, really?
But Watts is puzzled by why a Californian cigarette butt would turn up so far away in Florida. He contacts an investigator in California.
Got multiple states are involved.
They know him, that he's been helping them collect illegal weapons, and that he's involved in several murder investigations, but that they can't prove anything against him.
Okay.
But then the investigator in California tells Watts a small but crucial detail. Many of the murders involve the use of zip ties.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like every time he killed someone, he's tied their hand behind them with the zip tie.
He also has a few unsolved murders on his desk where zip ties were used.
Yeah.
He has a strong suspicion that Martinez might be the person he's looking for. He doesn't seem as a useful informant like the colleagues in California do. Watts believes Martinez might just be a killer. He marks him as person of interest.
Okay, finally,
Meanwhile,
person of interest.
Romero is still locked up in an Alabama prison.
Yeah.
Facing accusations for the murder of his friend, Jose Ruiz.
But he didn't do
He's
it.
terrified of his father-in-law. He witnessed his cold-bloodedness firsthand. But he can't go to prison. He has a daughter and a life at home. So he calls for the man in charge, Detective McWhorter, and talks.
Tim McWhorter.
On May 17th, the investigators finally issue an arrest warrant for Martinez on murder charges.
Okay.
When he returns back to the U.S. from a trip to Mexico, Martinez is arrested in Arizona.
Oh.
He learns that there's a warrant out for him for murder. His only question is where the warrant came from.
Right. A long list of bodies. For real, and for sure.
McWhorter is the first to hear about Martinez's arrest at the border. He immediately sets off for Arizona to personally bring him back. On the way back to Alabama, they talk about life, the military, and even share a pizza at the airport.
Okay.
McWhorter is surprised at how little Martinez seems to care about being charged with murder.
Damn.
Upon arriving in Alabama, they are met by Detective Watts. He too had jumped on a plane to interrogate Martinez. Neither detective expects Martinez to confess. Perhaps he would spend time in jail and then make a mistake during a phone call from inside. At best, Martinez might admit to being at the crime scene, but try to blame everything on Romero. But things take a different turn. Martinez confesses almost immediately to killing Ruiz. He also confesses to the murder case in Florida. He provides detailed descriptions of the crime scenes, the number of bullets used, and says, if I hadn't done the job, someone else would have. But it doesn't end there. Martinez then asks for Crystal Darrington, the deputy sheriff from Tulare.
Okay.
When she arrives in Alabama, he drops a bombshell. He's a contract killer and has killed numerous people. He goes on to confess to one murder after another.
Shot him in the head with a 22.
Took my gun and I shot him inside the car in the leg.
I even killed her brother.
So now he's confessing,
It
huh?
was a long list. I mean,
Yeah,
Crystal
many
Darrington
people, dude.
said that she was just like frantically texting her bosses, like, "Oh my god, another one!" And then like I think the next day he's like, "Oh my gosh, I have another one." So it was a shocking list of murderers.
He confesses to over 35 murders.
35.
Today, it is thought to be over 40.
They
Wow.
went back and reinvestigated all of them. Like, they didn't just take his word for it
Uh-huh.
and tried to make sure it was true. And ultimately, they decided that they believed it.
Martinez is brought to trial for most, but not all of his murders. Some cases couldn't be resolved. At the time, he even faces the death penalty, which doesn't seem to worry him.
I know I'm gonna get electrocuted everywhere if I die tomorrow.
Wow.
In the end, Martinez is sentenced to 50 years in prison in Alabama for the murder of Ruiz, life in prison without the possibility of parole in California for 9 murders, and 2 consecutive life sentences in
2
Florida.
life sentences. Damn.
Martinez certainly didn't make it easy for the police.
Right.
He left few traces, often there were no concrete pieces of evidence, and as a hitman, there were usually no direct connections between him and his victims. Especially in the 80s and 90s, police in California had a lot of murders to deal with. They had limited resources. But
Yeah.
there is also another reason why
Alright.
Martinez wasn't caught for so long.
There are other people who would say, well, he didn't try that hard to get it, in part because the people that he was killing were not people that created these giant outcry. He was generally killing people without very much power.
Right.
And so I think that was sort of one of the heartbreaking things to me when I started working on this, is that I went and found some of the family members of some of his victims, and
Like, they
many of
didn't do
them said
much.
over and over, like, it seems like no one cared that our relative was killed. And so I think that to me was sort of the craziest and most heartbreaking part of this case.
Like, some innocent people were killed too, right? Man. That's crazy video, bro. Crazy guy. Well, it's good. At least he got 2-time death sentences and 50 years in prison and without payroll, which is good too. And he's not getting out without, as he said, he wanna get an electric chair. Okay, good for him. But yeah, crazy hitman, dude, and deadliest hitman you can tell. Like, he don't care, man. He don't care. He's saying himself he don't care. Like, bro, what? But overall, amazing video as always by Fern. But yeah, bro, learned a lot from this dude. But yeah, RIP to those 35-40 people. But I guess that's how it was. That's how it had to end for them.